Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my most favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that'll have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. The Amazing Spider-Man number 134 from 1974. This comic is actually a little bit younger than me because I was born in January of 74 and this comic is from July of 74. So, regardless, this comic book is 50 years old this year. We're in 2024 as I'm recording this. So, this is also the first appearance of the Tarantula. However, someone makes an appearance at the very, very end. But I'll keep that hidden. It is a 50-year-old comic book, but some of you may not have read that. So, I do not have the original issue of this. I do have this, however, in a couple of different versions, a couple of trades that have popped out through the years. So I am quite familiar with this. So the tarantula is in the cover here. You are a buddy Spider-Man. I am the tarantula, and my touch means death. And you can see here he's got these talons on his boots. And Spidey says, he's not kidding. One of those steel spikes catches me, I'll be shredded. Don't miss the shocking surprise. Supervillain in this issue's startling last panel. So, who could it be? Alright. Danger is a man called the Tarantula. So, great cover here. I'll show it one more time before I get going here. Good stuff. I like the yellow sky. Very cool. So, again, Danger is a man named Tarantula. Gerry Conway writes. Ross Andru is the penciler, but back then they just got artist credit, but the embellishers, of course, would be the inkers here. So, we are in Manhattan, New York. We are in the Hudson River here. And there is Spidey. So, good splash page. I like it. So, look at this. Puerto Rico. That is where I am from. Nice. All right. So, Spider-Man's coming. You see him here. And he's like, move, hero man. MJ and Liz will kill you if you blow this trip. And he realizes he's only got one last web cartridge here. It says, great. As though I didn't have enough on my mind after the hassle with Aunt May, which was not covered by me, but it says, catch the Titanic first issue of Supergiant Spider-Man. So it is not something we have covered. So it looks like I'm down to my last web cartridge. Peter says he'll have to grab some from his apartment because he has no time to do it now. So off he goes. I love how they have him running here. And Peter thinks here, what do I care? Once I'm on that boat, it's bye-bye Spidey for the next 8 hours. But we know it's never that simple, do we, folks? And so he continues with his thoughts. After the nonsense I've been through lately, I need a rest. So, it says here, 16 seconds later, we got Liz, we got Mary Jane, and I think this is Flash Thompson here. He says, there he is now. Get a move on, Parker. The boat's about to sail. You heard the man. Tiger, hustle. So, here we go. All right. So, he kind of explains himself. I'm not going to read all that. They're just going to kind of board the boat here. So Peter complains about Jonah, not like this here from Mary Jane. What kind of a slave driver is J. Jonah Jameson anyway? So And Peter's like, oh, the usual kind. So here we go. They're out in the boat here. We got these um, people here, suspicious looking, I was going to say. So, and Peter goes, that's odd. My spider sense is tingling, warning me that there's danger somewhere near. Could those men have anything to do with it? Nah, they're tourists, not baddies. So, so he thinks here that it's just a delayed reaction from all the excitement. He's just tired and he has a right to be. So now we're going to get a bit of a flashback to stuff that I have not covered. Again, I skipped around. So we got here Dr. Octopus marrying Aunt May here. Sorry, not marrying, almost marrying Aunt May, and that was in issue 130. Aunt May had inherited a uranium mine in Canada, and that was the reason Doctor Octopus was going to marry her, but then he was gonna get rid of her. It says here that Doctor Octopus and Hammerhead were fighting the a nuclear explosion detonated, destroyed the island as him and Aunt May escape. Oh, brother. They used nuclear weapons for anything back in the day. Oh, all right. So after he takes Aunt May back in issue 132, the Molten Man reappears. So, and then he meets Liz Allen for the first time since high school, and turns out she became a nurse, and the Molten Man is actually her brother. So we we see a sound effect here, a whack, and thud, yap, and this lady here is screaming. And Flash says some sort of fight's broken out in the upper deck. Hey Parker, this may be your chance for you to catch some news pics. And Peter says, news pics? From the look of things, Flash, I don't think I'll get the opportunity. The crew seems to have pretty much things in hand here. So Mary Jane kind of jokes about the ship being hijacked here. So, and Flash here says, maybe Liz is right. Those sailors do look like they could use a hand. And if so, Flash Thompson is their man. Of course, Flash Thompson and Peter became friends after high school. Also, he becomes Venom during the time when Eddie Brock, Flash Thompson loses his legs in, I think it was in the Marines, and he ends up taking Venom. But Eddie Brock is back now. By the way, I do have a Spider-Man playlist. I skip around between the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So check it out if you so would like. So Peter tries to hold him back, and you can see Flash still says stuff. But as Peter tries to stop him here, he says, "Oh," and Mary Jane says, "Wow, gang, look." And of course, we now have the Tarantula on his first appearance here with two of his henchmen. Like the poses, like, really? Alright. So the Tarantula says, Senores, senores, your attention please. We have disposed of your crew as quickly and easily as we will dispose any of you who are foolish enough to attack us. If you obey our commands, if you follow our instructions implicitly, you will not be harmed. My companions and I have taken control of their ship. Their names are Hidalgo and Juan. By the way, in Spanish, the H is silent, so it's not Hidalgo, it's Hidalgo. So, and then, of course, he introduces himself. My name is Tarantula. It's actually Tarantula. It's same spelled the same way in English and Spanish, but which is probably why they used it. So Flash says, MJ, you thought you were kidding, but it's true. We've been hijacked by a bunch of nuts or nuttos, he's saying here. So Peter uses that opportunity to get away here and change into Spider-Man. And Peter says, with any luck, um, I'll be able to wipe these clowns before anyone notices Peter's gone. So, um, and so he lets us know that Tarantula is back on his megaphone again. So he is talking once again. And so Tarantula continues, understand, I have no wish to harm any of you unless necessary. I wish only your cooperation, not your lives. Do we understand each other? And this guy in orange shirt says, yeah, we understand. We understand you guys are a bunch of crooks and that you just beat up somebody of ours. If we hadn't been down in the engine room, you slobs would not or would have been swimming for sure now. And Tarantula says, so, senor, we must fight. Eh, very well. And you can see him spike this guy here and take the other one. And Tarantula says, I promise you, it will be a fight you'll soon forget once you taste Tarantula's sting. And Spider-Man goes, looks like I'm 10 seconds too late. Whoever he is, this Tarantula character is dangerous. Deadly dangerous. And so he kicks here, or you can see here that the guy in the orange shirt is out, or pushed out. So Spider-Man goes, it's 50 feet down. Now what do I do? The sailor might be unconscious, injured. He'll never make it to shore. If I don't save him, he could drown. So, but if I go after him, what about Tarantula? What about the ship? No, I can't think about that. I can't let a man die here. So we see here, not when I've got a chance to rescue him. So he looks above and we see, it doesn't tell us here. It could be the Queensboro Bridge, the Brooklyn Bridge, something. So you can see here. So here uses his webbing, and remember that he's almost out of webbing. They let us know that. So here he goes, catches the guy, saves him, leaves him on top of the bridge, and Mary Jane's like, did you see that? Spider-Man was on the ship and he left us. Oh wow, what a bummer. And I almost said Harry. Flash says, save it, MJ. Spider-Man will be back. You can bet on it. Right, Parker? And he's like, funny, Parker was here a minute ago. So, and then he thinks he could be Spider-Man. And he goes, nah, not a chance. So, all right, so here comes Spider-Man here, and he's about to use the thing. But, of course, he's out because you don't mention in the beginning that he's almost out of webbing unless that's going to be part of the story. So, all right. So, he uses his reflexes, catches it, and Spider-Man is like, face it, friend, you really blew it this time. Those people needed you, and you failed them. You failed them badly. So, all right, he stops, or he tries to hitchhike here, and no one is stopping to help him here. Hey, look at this lady, like, get out of the road. So, he's gonna go on top of this truck here. So, he's gonna follow basically where the boat is going here. So some people, of course, think that he's a murderer. They believe that he killed Harry Osborn. I have covered the those two issues with the death of Gwen Stacy and the death of the Green Goblin. Although I do not have the original issues, I do have the Marvel Tales reprints of those. So we get a little bit more thinking here. So 121 and 122, like I said, I do have them on my Spider-Man playlist. So, and where is he going? Well, we're gonna see here. So he's going to his apartment to get another web cartridge. And so off he goes. And here's Harry, and he goes, "So, as I've always suspected, Peter Parker is Spider Man. And it's Spider Man who killed my father." So, this is part of that time where um, Harry had oh, what would the word be? A mental breakdown, I think you could say. So we are at the Bugle here, and Betty Brant says that the mayor's on the line for Jonah. And Jonah says, "See, Robertson, I've always said everyone comes to J. Jonah Jameson for advice." So the mayor tells him about J. Jonah's like, hey, I was just telling my editor, what the Dayliner hijacked 1 million ransom, the Daily Bugle. He's like, "See here, Abe, I know I told you that you could count on me for help in a pinch, but I mean politically, not Abe. You wouldn't." "Of course, Mr. Mayor. I'll get in touch with my bank immediately." "Don't mention it, sir. I'm glad to be of assistance." So basically, the mayor is asking Jonah to help with the cost of the $1 million. And so Jonah says, "We've got to arrange for the payment, or the mayor will have the city council review the Bugle's charter, and I'll go out of business." So, all right. So here, looks like they're robbing the people. One of them says, "Senorita, give me your purse." So you can see here, Flash doesn't like that they're also trying to rob the people inside the boat. And of course, he's like, "You guys don't scare me." But they quickly dispatch Flash here. You can see here. And so soon, though, you can see Spider-Man. He hitched a ride on the helicopter here. And this guy's gonna throw these, I don't know what these are called, but he uses his webs, and then those things kind of get in on him. So um, this looks almost like Sal Buscema in a way here. So, and so now Spidey is gonna go against the Tarantula here, and so you can see that we're about to get to our little fight here, and the fight continues here. I'm just gonna narrate it here. Nothing is really being that's too important. So anyway, here comes Tarantula's henchman here. So you can see it here where Tarantula says, "Excellent, Hidalgo, hold him for the sting." And Peter, of course, um, uh, what would you say? Turns him over. I don't know. Um, but uses his own momentum against the guy. But you can see here, Tarantula does manage to um, poke poor Spidey here. And so you understand at last, Tarantula is not so helpless as you think. So um, look at Flash. He's a big fan of Spider-Man here, and so Spider-Man's like, "Get out of here before he kills you." And now he pokes him in the arm here, so the leg, and you can see that this is starting to affect Spider-Man. You got this to kind of know. So he punches him, but Spidey's not doing very well, and Spidey says, "It looks like I won the battle, but he's won the war." And down goes a Spider-Man. He says, "Everything's spinning out of focus. Another few seconds, I'll pass out, and I'll be helpless. Helpless to keep anyone from unmasking me, from ending Spider-Man's career forever." He goes, "Those boots, it couldn't be him. Not now. I can't face him now." So guess who, folks? Of course, we got Frank Castle, the Punisher. "Well, Spider-Man, it seems we meet again, and this time I'm in control. This time you have to face the Punisher." So will bring the startling conclusion to this mini epic titled A City in Flame, which we will be covering. So, look at this. Um, in his first appearance, I think he had blue boots and blue gloves. However, the cover did have them white, so we finally get the white boots with the white gloves here. So, Amazing Spider-Man 134 from 1974 by Gerry, Conway, and Ross Andru. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.